Hello everyone, welcome to Shooting the Ship. I'm Dan, and with me is Shane.
Howdy ho, Junior Rangers.
You might notice something a little different. I mean, do you notice anything different?
You can see us! I can see!
Well, they already saw your ass.
Yeah, you're right. I have to apologize. I won't be disappearing anytime soon in this video,
Yeah,
so you're going to have to get used to this ugly mug right here.
But we just got back from Hansel and Gretel.
Witch hunters.
Yeah. So, you know how we usually talk about good movies and how we usually go on and talk about good movies usually, I mean, a lot of the stuff we saw this year was pretty good. Hey, last year was pretty good.
It seems that every review that we do of movies that just come out are movies that we're a fan of, and they're always something about superheroes or action or something like Christopher Nolan, because, you know, we're a fan. And there's a reason for this. We're broke college students. We pay for this with our own money. We're not internet celebrities, so we don't make any money really off of this, at least not yet. So we have to pay for this out of our own pocket, which isn't really full. So if we're going to spend our money on situations like, you know, going to a movie, we want to make sure it's something that we know we're going to get. Good, something we know we're going to get our money's worth for. So we decided we're going to have to change that to add some diversity to our site. And,
yeah.
Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Yeah.
So it's kind of bad when you make Van Helsing look a little bit enjoyable.
I was waiting for Hugh Jackman to show. I was like, please, Hugh Jackman. this would be great.
Oh,
no.
Okay, so...
No. Alright, so where do we begin on the situation?
I guess we should sort of give to the people who are uneducated about the greatness that is Hansel and Gretel.
Give them a rundown of the situation.
Yeah. So apparently it is the same Hansel and Gretel from the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel.
You know, the one we all know. Kids out in the forest, you know, they leave the trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah, asshole father.
Asshole father that abandons them. They find the house made of candy. The gingerbread house or whatever. Is this just made of candy? No, there's some gingerbread.
Yeah,
it's pretty much a giant sweets house. And they go in, you know, there's an old woman there. She feeds them, gives them a great time. Ends up she's a witch. Tries to eat them. They kill her. They escape.
Yeah,
you know, for kids.
And so this movie has now officially become a trend of taking fairy tales, like simple little fairy tales, and saying, what else would happen after that? Or how can we expand this story to feature length?
And as opposed to making this a tween love movie where, you know, Hansel... Actually, I can't say that entirely, but when Hansel, you know, he finds a witch that he falls in love with, and they're all 16 and life is hard, they decided, what if they just killed shit?
Right. So, or, you know, and... Again, the difference between this and many of those other films is it actually chooses to go after the fairy tale. So it's not essentially, what if Snow White was made like Lord of the fucking Rings?
Yeah. They decided to make a sequel to the fairy tale.
Where they became witch hunters. Because apparently after you escape a witch, you decide, hey, I'm going to kill some more witches.
Yeah, as opposed to, you know, being afraid of witches and
trying to avoid
them your entire life. They went, you know, forget this. They trained their entire lives. They traveled the land and they become world-famous witch hunters. The very best at what they do.
The best is questionable in this situation.
Yes, it is. But the very best at what they do. And now, in the town of, was it Oxford? I believe it was Oxford.
It's some old place. That's really what it is.
Something forward. We'll say Oxford for now.
Yeah.
Oxford, the mayor has brought in Hansel and Gretel to solve their witch problem, which will lead to other situations. Plot unfolds, big plans.
Hilarity ensues.
Waka waka. And, I'd like to sit here and say that I enjoy this movie, but no, I'm not going to. That would be a lie. There's so many things we can start with. There's so many things. Why don't we start at the beginning? I hope you got we open up to the flashback and we see the scene of the original fairy tale. You see Hansel and Gretel as children. They're in the forest. They find the house of candy, and for the most part, that scene wasn't that bad.
It's a pretty decent retelling of it.
It's a decent retelling. The makeup for the witch.
It was actually, it kind of reminded me of the heinous horror hag from Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
The I'll swallow your soul!
Yeah, definitely. I actually made that joke when we were in the theater. And, the makeup was decent on top of the fact it was probably the best witch makeup in the movie. Because she actually seemed like she was still a person. As opposed to a ridiculous, blown over the top,
Siamese twin.
Yeah,
weird thing. Apparently, when you're a witch, you have a lot of skin problems. Apparently, you get cracks in your face.
The darkness that you may have from conducting witchcraft develops a rot on you that you can see anywhere. It makes you completely obvious that you're a witch, and. The witch, in this case, the original witch from the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale, she just kind of looks old. She looks like what you expect a witch to look like.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind that. I thought that's what we were going to have through the entirety of this movie, but...
Nope. It's hey, we got a chick with a weird, what was it? Fucking Sonic?
The Sonic the Hedgehog spike hair, and
that's fucking Jean Grey with this weird crack.
Yeah, and that's where we're one point that we really would like to point out. I was going to bring it up later in the video, but I think it'd be decent.
Since we're talking
about it now, the witch design in this movie was awful. They looked so ridiculous. There's just the spiked hair for no reason.
Or this giant, the frog.
The frog mutant,
neck thing.
Or no legs because, witches lose legs or something like that.
Or one with a safari mask or something, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, she had a...
No, the funniest one was still, the Siamese twin witch. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Siamese twin witches.
It was just so random. It was something they pulled straight out of their ass.
They didn't think, what could we do if we actually had a coven of witches? No, it was just let's take the most batshit concepts we possibly can for witches and just throw them all in there.
You know what? Let's look through a catalog of Haley Circus and see which part we can put makeup on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much how it feels. Here's the bearded woman, here's the cracked woman, and here is the Siamese twin evil. You know what? Fuck it. It's just a witch.
Yeah, exactly. They seem like a lot of out there designs for no reason whatsoever.
Or it just seems meh.
That's the point. They weren't impressive, and they didn't add to anything. It's not like every witch, their mutations had individual powers. You hear all these awesome stories. You hear about the frog witches that can breathe underwater,
or serpent witches,
or serpents, or desert witches, but you don't see any of them. At least you don't see any of those powers in action. What you get is this very generic magic, wand, lightning kind of thing. That's it. There's nothing really elaborated on screen. They mention cool stuff, but they never actually go to it. So we come to the scene where we're introduced to our characters. We're not going to run down the whole movie, but
we're just talking.
We're introduced to our main characters. Hansel and Gretel. They show up. They do something badass. they save an innocent woman named Mia, who you will see again and again and again, but you won't know why. And that's the thing. Even you see her all these times, but there's no bond made.
The bond they have is like, hey, I kind of saw your boobs.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Thanks for showing me your boobs.
And thanks for the naked swimming lessons.
Thanks for the boobs. I really appreciate that.
That's kind of it.
Yeah. Which, I think we can address the cast of characters right now.
Right.
They're there. It's the same thing as everything else.
The thing is, they're so stereotypical that this whole fucking thing is telegraphed.
Definitely. You have Hansel, played by Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, and, from what I've seen from him, he deserves much better than this role, but you can obviously tell he was in this for a check.
Yeah, I mean, it plays so much like he's really checking this.
He just wanted to get paid. This was a payday for him. Yeah. And, he gives a decent performance as Hansel, I guess. I mean, I can't say I was utterly impressed by it. It just kind of seemed like if he got on camera and decided that he was just going to be himself with a couple of, guns. I'm not sure who Gretel was played by. Do you know?
Her name is escaping me right now. I wish I actually knew her name. I know where she's from. I just do not know.
I was really impressed with her. I gotta be honest. She, she did her best.
She's a good actress. Just they're both good actors. Like the actors who play Hansel and Gretel, but they're just you kind of get the sense that they're just there.
Yeah, they were definitely wasted, for sure. You see them in the trailer and you think, oh well, if they're going to be in this movie, I might go see this movie. The action might not be so bad. I loved Renner's Hawkeye.
Right.
I loved it.
Yeah, no denying it.
Yeah, no denying. It was amazing. So I was like, maybe that'll repeat onto this movie, and it did. And then if you think the main characters are forgetful, all the side characters they introduced, and they just never do anything with them. You have the stereotypical, I'm the sheriff of this town, and
you mean old-timey J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah, old-timey J. Jonah Jameson. No, but it's just like, I'm the sheriff of this town. No one's gonna take control for me. I'm the fucking law around here, and
I hate you both.
I hate you both for no reason. How dare you stop me from burning innocent people as witches? It's just like he has hate for no reason. They try to do the stereotypical, the hero that is shunned by the city kind of thing, and it just doesn't work.
There's even a moment where he's trying to form a posse against kicking Gretel's ass. Or so it just comes off really stereotypical.
Yeah, he comes off trying to be
I'm arresting you for bringing this witchcraft upon us. Motherfucker, this thing's been happening way before they entered.
Yeah, that's the whole point they were called in, was for the witches. So you're telling me now that they showed up, you're just going to point the finger and go, oh, wait, no, you brought the witches. It's your fault. It's just shoehorned. They have him in there for no reason whatsoever.
He's there to just be the asshole.
Yeah, he's there to be the asshole, but the asshole isn't needed.
He's the asshole antagonist who's like, I don't trust them boys. They're not good. That Hansel and his sister Gretel, I don't like them one bit.
I don't like them at all.
And then the guy is so overacting.
Yeah, it's so overacting. And that opening scene where they're attempting to, well, no, they weren't burning her, they were actually attempting to drown her.
Yeah.
And that whole scene, they were attempting to drown, Mina, the woman they claim to be a witch. He is just putting so much emphasis on his words. He's like, witchcraft. She is practicing witchcraft. And you couldn't help but laugh. Everyone else in the theater, they were unimpressed by it, but
they were just
dead. But we were cracking up in the background.
It was so over the top. I mean,
it was so just exaggerated. This big, elaborate, just hyperbole fest. And it was just, I don't know.
It was just really it's the stereotypical asshole.
He was a stereotypical asshole.
He overacts and he's angry at our heroes. Why? Because
he is.
I don't know. He has a tiny dick. Who knows?
Yeah, because he is.
Yeah.
And then we have Benjamin. the witch hunter's biggest fan.
If you ever seen Constantine and you remember Shia LaBeouf from that movie, that's pretty much who he is.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's their fanboy. He's got all their kills on document in this big book that he has that he wants them to sign. He has all just like he has knowledge of every story that Hansel and Gretel have ever been involved in.
He's got posters.
Yeah, he's got posters that he's drawn himself of Gretel.
I'm surprised there's no fucking fan fiction under this.
Yeah, can I show you the fan fiction I have with you and the Simpsons?
You think that's good? I got one of you and the three bears. Again, the character is just another stereotypical fucking character that you see. I mean,
that's exactly where we get to, all the characters in this, be it heroes, be it side characters, be it villains, they're all very cookie cutter, copy and paste from other movie villains and characters. I mean, they're very just undeveloped. There's no time to really see, there's no motives, there's there's motives, but they're not good motives. There's not. It's. What do you gotta say about this?
It is so goddamn telegraphed that fucking Ray Charles can see this coming. I mean, everything that might be a spoiler, right? Everything that you might think is like an event or a spoiler just comes across as just there. You know what the fuck's gonna happen. I mean, they start mentioning well, Hansel and Gretel, you're immune to magic. Why? I'm like, her mother was probably a witch. Her mother was probably a witch. And what do you know? The fucking twist, their mother was a witch. And by the way, we don't care about spoilers.
Yeah, we really don't.
We really don't care about spoilers at this point. This movie.
You know what the thing is? Normally in our videos, we try to stray away from spoilers because that's not what you should do in movies like this. But you will guess everything that happens in this movie before it happens. And here's the thing. Every single big twist you see in this movie is so obvious that, there's little kids can go. It's rated R, so don't bring your little kids to go see it. But little kids would see this and go, "Oh, mommy, I know, their mommy's a witch." Obvious. Oh, hey, yeah, that's why they're immune to magic. Why the fuck not?
Or that person who is accused as a witch is a good witch.
Yeah, which, by the way, brings us to another situation. Before we talk more about the predictability, actually, no, it adds right into the predictability. Right. We were sitting there watching with the girl Mia, the one they saved for not being a witch.
Right.
Guess what? She is a witch. She's a good witch.
Fucking shocker there.
And Dan looks to me during the thing, and he goes, "Bet you she's a good witch." And I was like, "No way. They're not going to do something that stupid. They're not going to just rip off Wizard of Oz and just be like, well, there's good witches and there's bad witches. Pokemon, gotta catch them all." And not 5 minutes after Dan says it, we find out she's a witch. To which point I gave him the finger. And I just shook my head. Because it's, why? Why do you need a good witch? Why?
Because it's fucking telegraphed. They need someone who's a good witch. It's like in fucking Cowboys and Aliens, where it's like, well, not all aliens are evil. There are good aliens. I'm a good alien too, Daniel Craig. It's that same fucking bullshit. And of course, would I really call her the love interest? Because it really is just like a...
You know what? Mia is not a love interest. She's a booty call. That's just more of proof of the rushed storyline. Everything is rushed in this movie. It's not even the plot. The main plot sucks. The side plots suck. The twists suck. It's all obvious. It's all things you could call. The love interest, that thing lasts... It's that. It's done. You blink and you miss it. It's just like, oh, we love each other now. We're going to throw that out.
Yeah.
It's so just...
It is so obvious and telegraphed. I mean...
It's there and then it's gone. There's no... you don't see any real emotion from the characters. You don't see Hansel really developing this love interest. Actually, what's funny is the reason that you can tell what they start what they use is the way that they start going out with each other, I guess, or start loving each other, whatever. It's sex.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They bang, and then he's like, "Oh, I love you now." It's like, no, you don't love her. You banged her. There's a difference.
Well, I saw your tits, so that means we're in love.
Thanks for the boobs. That's pretty much all it is. And then, you know, she does her thing, I guess. You know,
she fills her role.
Yeah, she's witchy like once. And then, you know, they just scrap her character. And just, oh, hi, Mia. Bye, Mia.
Yeah, and surprise, the love interest dies. Fucking shocker of the century.
Spoilers. I could have told
There's no
you
shit to spoil, man.
I could have told you she was gonna die. Like the moment, they're like, oh, we're in love.
Dead.
We go to the exposition, which goes back to the storyline. This is how you can. This is the trademark of the rushed plot. Everything that they use to really advance the storyline, they just happen to find. Oh, we find out their mother's a witch. How? They fall into, like, she gets tackled, he gets tackled, and the floor breaks. It's just, witch is dead.
Yeah.
Climb out. Oh, there's the bad witch, which, by the way, we never get her name. The film specifically does not name her. Specifically says, I have many names, but you are not worthy to pronounce them. No, that means you finished the movie and forgot to name your character.
I'm not surprised if that actually happened.
Yeah, no, that means you were too fucking lazy to come up with a name for your character. That is the most bullshit cop-out you can give in a movie. Oh, they're unworthy to say her name. Doesn't mean we can't find out what it is.
For all we know, she could have been like, she's a fucking witch bitch. That's all
She's
she
a
is.
witch bitch.
That's all she is.
They needed a house just to fall on her. But, like, yeah, they find out their mother's a witch from falling down the thing and getting the story explained to them. You know, they find out, they find a tome or some long name that I don't care to remember, some book that lets them destroy that, like, it stops the witches from using their wands to protect themselves, because fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here's another thing. They have an item that stops the witch's magic from helping them. But apparently becoming a witch makes you a master hand-to-hand fighter. Because every witch in this movie has, like, not sword, they have, like, daggers, and they're flying around.
Pulling some
like,
wire food shit.
Yeah, they're pulling some wire food. They're crawling up trees. They're doing backflips and cartwheels and spinning blade attacks.
By the way, the most badass witch hunters around can't even land a fucking hit.
And that's exactly the problem. You have a fight between witches, which are known for magic. They fight using spells. Well, I wouldn't say they fight, but I'm saying if they were to fight, they would use magic. They would use trickery. They would use black arts. And the witch hunters would use their weaponry. They would use their hand-to-hand fighting. They would just use their physical capabilities. But apparently the world's greatest witch hunters can't fight witches because they have super strength and martial arts abilities, and it kicked the shit out of them. He told over and over again how awesome Hansel and Gretel are, and they get beat up in every fight.
First fight we see them in, they get their asses fucking kicked. I mean, even fucking Gretel, I think, has, like, blood.
Blood coming
yeah,
down.
even Hansel is like, looking a little black and blue, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're badass. I'm like, you got your asses kicked.
They fail so hard at trying to make their characters seem, well, for lack of a better term, badass.
Yeah, it just seems really like it seems like a kid who just learned how to say fuck and is like trying to put on the black coat and the glasses, and he's like, I'm cool, motherfucker.
Yeah, the kid who learns his first swear, and he says it behind his parents' back, and he says it at school and things that it makes him cool. And that's what these guys are. They try so hard to make Hansel and Gretel seem like legitimate threats. They have them in all black with the black leather, and they're always holding their gun up on their shoulder and stereotypical, I'm a badass, look where my weapon is stance.
Yeah, always with their quick one-liners.
Yeah, quick one-liners, and they don't flinch in the face of evil. but they get their ass kicked by evil. You can't look cool and then not be cool in a movie. It doesn't work like that. If the whole point was maybe they're putting up their their stone face to maybe fight off their fear,
right?
Then yeah, maybe I'd agree with it. But it just fails so hard.
I mean, shit. Gretel gets kidnapped at the end of this thing. So literally, she's like the damsel in distress by the end.
Yeah, they make one of their heroes the damsel in distress. It becomes Hansel, vampire. I know, not vampire.
Might as well at this point.
Hansel, witch hunter. Well, we've been slamming this thing with a lot of negativity for right now, so maybe we can move on to one of the good things. And this is the last character we haven't touched, and that is Edward the Troll. Now, apparently Edward the Troll is the servant of the main villains of this, and just witches in general. We find out that trolls not only exist in this world, apparently, but they're the servants of witches, and that's how another way you find out that Gretel has the blood of a great white witch, or grand white witch.
Whatever.
And
let's just say the chosen one.
Exactly. And Edward is really the only character in this movie that's really worth mentioning. You can see actual emotion. The character looks great. They have an actual suit as opposed to like full-on CGI.
Except for like when he's like in action where
yeah.
there, but still, like it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, the suit, the effect is great. Actually, I think it looks pretty good. The appearance of the character is fine. You can they didn't lose the troll character. Like even when he's trying to be helpful, he's also being aggressive, which plays to the role of the character. He's the only one I actually felt sorry for.
I did because he's a good troll, and that's like I kind of haven't seen that in a while.
He's a good individual. It's just every time Edward was on my screen, I actually felt at least a little happy because there was someone I cared about.
There was someone who was at least somewhat original.
Yeah, he was somewhat original, and he actually had a little bit of development, which is more than we can say really about any other character.
Yeah.
He developed at least a little bit. And that's the key to characters. They have to develop. They have to move on through a story and, change at least a little bit, adapt to the story. And it doesn't happen to anyone else, really.
It's just...
Everything else is like, oh, here's a big change for your character. Oh, that's neat. And that's the end of it. There's nothing more. You'd think, a couple of witch hunters finding out that their mother, and by extension themselves, they're witches. They have witch blood in them. So the thing that they've been killing all this time, the thing that they have immense hatred for, they are themselves. That would destroy someone's psyche. But they just shrug it off like, oh, well, I guess all witches aren't bad.
Yeah, it's basically this is how the scene goes. You're related to witches. I've had better days.
Yeah, exactly. Like that should be the end of the world for you. That literally ends everything you've taught yourself in your life. You have to change that, and they just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And the thing is, like from the way we're talking about this, like I think people might assume that we thought that this was going to be a serious movie, in which we didn't. We knew it was going to be fun and goofy kind of movie, but the thing is, you can only suspend your disbelief so far before you really just start saying like, okay, you need to cut back here because this is getting really stupid.
And I approach this movie with a little less, I would say, stigma than Dan is, because Dan is really the hardcore critic of the situation. I sometimes am allowed to suspend my belief just a little bit more so I didn't lose myself. But that didn't happen in this movie. Sometimes I can do that when the action is good. And this is an action movie, and it committed the cardinal sin of action movies. It was boring. The action was terrible. There was a fight, as we said, all it was Hansel and Gretel getting their ass kicked until they got one lucky shot in or something. Or they, the situation turned in their favor by something. Or I didn't care. I didn't care. It was so bland. It was just, you could go see any other movie. You didn't need witches. You don't need Hansel and Gretel. You don't even need hunters. And you just get this action scene in any action movie. And, you know, technically speaking, the choreography was awful.
It was, and just, it was, but you know what it was? I don't even know if it was so much the choreography, because the way some of it played into was a little bit of the editing. Like,
yeah.
It was,
that's the point.
It's weird because, like, there's, like, one scene where, like, Hansel attaches himself to, like, a witch's broom and, like, he starts flying all over the place. And it's a bit of a wreck. I mean, you kind of see a little bit of a quick close-up and then it's quickly cuts to the other part and then quickly cuts to the other part. It's not really impressive. I mean, maybe it's just my sensibilities because when I see an action scene, I like to see it play out more. Instead of just going, like, quick cut, quick cut, quick cut, quick cut, I like to see my action play out more. You know,
yeah, you go in expecting Bruce Lee and you come out with Transformers.
Basically, well, with less shit jokes.
Yeah, with less shit. Alright.
But it just doesn't really feel unimpressive. And even from, like, a horror sense, there really isn't horror. I mean, unless horror is basically someone looking at the camera going, ah!
Yeah, every scare was... I know they tried to add little bits of horror in there, because it is a witch, so they wanted to go on with the monster. But every scare was just, you know, your typical jump scare or scream at the camera. And yeah, that'll work if maybe you're 12.
I'd say younger than that, maybe.
Yeah,
like, these are,
yeah, exactly.
Because, like, the way these witches look, I'm like, these aren't scary.
No, they're not scary at all. And maybe that's not the point. Maybe they're just trying to do, you know, the witch character. But every time they try to scream or every time they show a close-up of their face, it's just...
It gets old.
It's old. It's like, okay, guys, we get it. You're a witch. You're scary. You're ugly-looking. Can we get to the fight?
Can we...
And then we get to the fight, and it's, can we get out of this fight?
Can we go back to the plot? Oh, wait, never mind. The fucking plot's boring.
Oh, wait, there's no plot. There's nowhere to hide.
You can go to the bathroom.
You're just going to the bathroom would be a decent break. This is actually one of the few movies I don't get up to go to the bathroom in, and I regret that to this moment.
You probably wouldn't miss shit either.
Like, it was such a forgetful movie that the manager who sold us the tickets actually forgot it was playing. We walked up and said, 2 for Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and our reaction was, what?
Like, she was stunned, like, people are seeing that? Wait.
It wasn't, yeah, it was the question, that's a movie, and she had to look at the board and go, oh, alright, yeah. When the people that work with movies don't know your movie is a thing, you have a problem. And it was just so fucking forgetful. And on top of that, they're okay, their weapons were okay. They kind of went the Van Helsing thing where it's, you know, they're back in older times, but they have technology that, you know, they shouldn't have. Right. They have unfoldable guns and like the fucking the crossbow thing that you see in the trailer. Just, you know, weapons they shouldn't have. And, you know, some of the weapons I enjoyed because I'm a sucker for technology. I see maybe, you know, the crossbow. I thought the crossbow was actually pretty cool. Didn't really do much, but it was pretty cool. They have a pretty cool Gatling gun.
And even then, it's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, even then, I was never really impressed. You could tell that they really wanted you to get up and be excited that they have these really cool weapons, but they really weren't that interesting. It's just, oh, cool, you have a rapid-fire crossbow.
It's like, in fact, I think that's probably the same one they used from fucking Van Helsing.
Yeah, that is one thing they used from Van Helsing, that they made their own adjustments to it. And then, like, you know, they have a rifle that's...
A foldable rifle?
No, that's not the one I mean. They do have a unfolded rifle, but they also have Hansel's rifle / shotgun, which really has no point in its customization, because all it is a gun that looks different. There's nothing new to it. So I'm all for going for the basic weapon. But at the same time, why would you just have a shotgun and make it look different? And when every other weapon you have is a beyond era technology or has some kind of twist to it, and then go, oh yeah, and then this is a gun. Yeah, it served no purpose. And I know you actually had a major issue with one of the weapons that they carried out.
Okay, like, again, I can suspend my disbelief on a lot of shit, but not so much that I had a problem with it, but I just kind of really found it funny when they introduced it, because they also introduced something else too that we are going to talk about, and it is hysterical that they bring it up because it serves no purpose, and I think you know what I'm talking about. But it's essentially a taser. Essentially, like, in one of the many fight scenes where Hansel and Gretel get their ass kicked, just this random guy who's with them just happens to just tase a witch. Literally, just pop it like, zzz, I got one!
I like your toys!
Where do they get all those wonderful toys?
Yeah.
And I just kind of laughed. I was like, you're be fucking kidding me.
Now, Dan, please explain why you don't like the fact that there's a taser in this movie.
It's just in the sense that, like, one, obviously the out-of-place time period, because I mean, I wasn't the historical one going like, oh my god, this is so historically inaccurate. I mean, no gun would ever fold like that. But it's just, like, again, there's certain points where I can suspend my disbelief for things. Like, okay, I can suspend my disbelief and believe all these witches have cosmetic problems. Fine. I can believe that some guy be almost jerk-off happy about two fucking witches going around. Fine. Even the fact that he flinches at a decapitation, but not when something else happens. I can take that. But there's only a point where you go to that, where, again, you just gotta go, guys, I'm not that fucking stupid. Okay? That is stupid. And even the fact, too, is like, in the movie, it acts as a defibrillator.
Yeah, they do use the taser as a defibrillator. They, shock to bring back.
Yeah.
Now, I actually disagree with Dan in this situation. While I do believe that a taser is an unnecessary weapon in this situation, since they are witch hunters, not witch capturers, they're going for the kill, so a taser really, like, I get maybe you can push them off you or something like that, but it doesn't really serve a purpose outside of, controlling a witch. But the fact that it exists doesn't bother me at all, because as we know, electricity was at least a concept. We at least knew what electricity was at that time, during the time period. And I know that's what the case, because I did the research myself.
Oh, so you're going to be one of those guys.
Hey, facts win battles, man. And so, we could suspend our disbelief, as you said, and believe that, you could harness electricity. I see no problem with that when we're in a world full of trolls and witches and Van Helsing weapons.
But then they introduce something that even defies that. Because even if I went with the taser, apparently they had insulin back then.
Yeah. So one of the nice twists that they make with one of the characters, with Hansel, is that he was forced to eat so much candy when he was locked away. He now has what they call sugar sickness, or as I've coined, super diabetes. He has super diabetes, and what that is every few hours or so, the sickness kicks in, and he could die unless he takes his insulin. They don't call it insulin, but unless he injects himself with a shot that he has.
Right.
And this serves no purpose.
Except when it's convenient.
Yeah, except for the one time it's convenient. Like, you never see him have a problem with it any other time. You see him inject himself, but you never see him have a problem. And then one time out of the blue, it's,
my diabetes is acting up.
My diabetes.
I just can't believe they fucking went with that.
Yeah.
He's even got the fucking timer on his goddamn watch. Like, apparently he has a blood test, too.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, it was just stupid. We get it. They ate candy, but like the diabetes thing, I don't know.
I mean, I could buy if you know the kind of movies we look at, we've seen some stupid shit.
Yeah, we've seen some stupid movies.
I've seen a man rig his heart to nuclear bombs. But fucking diabetes? Really?
It's just such a random. I wouldn't say random because they ate a lot of candy, but he didn't. Like, they showed him eating candy one time. One time he eats one piece of candy, and then they kill the witch. So what you're telling me is that this boy, we assume he's been eating since he got there, but she was cooked, like the witch was preparing the dinner at that moment, the same day they walked into the house. So what you're telling me is in the course of a few hours, he ate so much candy that this physically fit young boy gained super diabetes. He would have had to eat half the house.
It is just ridiculous. I'm so surprised someone sat there, read that part out loud, was like, that's good. We're totally doing it. Like, I can get what they're trying to do. They're trying to be like, aha, that's a twist. See, because he ate so much candy, kids, he developed diabetes. Shouldn't that teach you much? No,
Michelle Obama wants you to go outside and play. And, you know, there's so much that we can go with, and I know there's somebody, one of the 8 viewers that we have. There's probably some kid at his keyboard like, oh, you guys are fucking stupid. Diabetes insulin was around back then. Yeah, well, you know what?
Not in this way.
It should have fucking been in the movie anyway.
It serves no point.
It serves no point.
It's introduced through exposition, as Shane said.
It's just another piece of expedition. It's just another fucking way that they can add suspense that really didn't need to be there. There's just more necessary character traits.
Yeah, and again, it only comes in at the end, and it's just there to be like, oh my god, no! What? Are they gonna kill the evil witch at the end? Like, fuck off.
On top of that, though, with the fight scenes that we were talking about and the technology, there were some pretty cool kills in the movie. I have to admit, there are, there's.
It was the scene with Edward was one of them.
Edward's kills are very awesome. That scene where he's fighting is very cool. It's very quick, but you can really see how powerful the guy is. Some of their little traps and stuff that they set up are really awesome. Some of the way the witches blow apart, pretty cool. Now, at the same time, I also believe myself, I know you actually have an opposite opinion, but I believe that maybe there was a little too much, I don't want to say too much gore, but there was a lot of unnecessary gore. Siamese twin witches get part of their place where they're connected in the back. They get half of it blown open.
And you kind of see the wound that's kind of there.
You can kind of see the wound, but it served no point because they were still connected. So really all it was just to make you go, ew! And it didn't really do it. It just kind of made me shrug because it didn't look good. Apparently eating a lot of worms makes you blow up.
Apparently.
It's just gore for no reason. And I don't mind gore. In fact, I think in a rated R movie where you're hunting witches, there should be a lot of gore. Right. Or where it really counts, they lack. And where it's unnecessary, they just go full fucking on with it.
It honestly just seemed like the reason they did that was just like to get the R rating. Like many of the things that consider it R just kind of there. It's like tit shot.
Yeah. There's a nipple. There's a nipple. Oh god.
R rating for us, but like you could easily we got even a lot of shows like PG-13. So like even though I think the theater was confused, like is this a PG-13? Because it kind of feels like it.
The trailers for those stupid tween monster movies. Everyone in there. A lady brought her fucking baby in to see this movie.
Fuck.
And to let you know, the baby was the only one in the theater with any kind of emotion, and that emotion was crying. The only emotion in the theater, the only reaction to the movie was a baby crying.
Which, by the way, to the parents, you are fucking idiots. Like, seriously. You bring your infant child to this fucking movie, and here's the thing, I'm not a prude, okay? I'm not a prude where I'm like, oh no, kids shouldn't see R-rated things.
No, we've seen a lot of shit. This is why we do this.
Yeah.
We grew up sneaking, peeks at the R-rated movies and stuff, because we're badasses. No, we just did it because that's what you do as a kid, When someone tells you not to do something, you do it. We've seen enough shit to, not be affected, and, we're okay, at least. But this kid was very young. 1, 2 at most.
Probably 1, most likely,
Yeah.
it's just come the fuck on. I mean, not also just for the fact that, like, one, it's a 1-year-old, but two, you don't really take into consideration anyone who's in that theater, too. I mean, one, fuck you for that.
Yeah, seriously, if you're going to bring your baby into a movie, go see a movie that's not going to scare the shit out of it.
Like,
I'm trying to sit here and I'm trying and failing to immerse myself into the movie, but I'm at least trying to get a sense of what's going on. I'm at least trying to sit back and register what's happening, and I can't do it when your baby is screaming.
Because it's a fucking baby.
Right.
Which is the point. You don't...
Loud noises scare kids.
I mean, do they... And I know we're going off on a tangent here, but it's a point to make. I mean, why the fuck would you bring a baby to an R-rated movie? Or just, why would you bring a baby to movies at all? Like, I understand, maybe like, for kids' films, I kind of understand.
Yeah, that's
I kind of understand that.
That's what they're for.
But... still, it's a loud movie, on the one hand. 2, it's a violent movie. 3, again, why? I mean, mostly adults are going to go see this movie. There's no fucking kids that are probably going to go see this movie, unless the ones that sneak in.
Yeah.
But, no courtesy at all for anybody. I mean, could they not just afford to find anyone to fucking sit this kid?
Yeah, it must be hard to ask.
Call up your fucking mom and say, hey, Mom, could you watch our kid for a while?
Hey,
or just don't go to the fucking movies with your kid. Spend a night at fucking home. It pisses me off. I have never seen a baby at a movie theater. Or at least in an R-rated one. And that kind of pissed me off personally. Because again, one, it's the baby. It's going to cry at this shit. And it did. Like, multiple times, and I even kind of heard them getting a little pissed off at it. I'm like, well, what the fuck did you expect?
Yeah, they get angry at the kid. It's like, yeah, he cried, it got scared. You took it to a fucking witch hunter movie. Of course it got scared.
A man just blew up and he's crying about it. No shit.
Shit. As you can probably see, we didn't like this movie.
Oh, really?
It wasn't good. Wasn't even slightly good. And I wouldn't say it was... it wasn't a bad movie. It was a boring movie. It was just a boatload of meh.
That's what it is. It's so meh that it's just eh.
Yeah, it's meh. That's all we can say. There are no actual words we can use to describe how we feel about the movie. It's just sound effects, grunts.
That's what it is. There's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a meh.
Exactly.
That's just what it is. It's
the bottom line, it's an action movie that did not deliver on action.
Exactly.
And that defeats the purpose of the movie. I don't really have a rating. We don't really do rating systems. We just say if we liked it or not.
Yeah. And
I didn't like it. He didn't like it. We didn't like it. We don't want you to see it. If you want to go see it, by all means, find the cheapest matinee you can. Find a rental when it comes out. Wait for one of your other friends who's dumb enough to buy it on DVD and go over to their house to see it. Or even better yet, wait 4 or 5 years when it shows up on Sci-Fi with all the other shitty horror movies. Or action movies.
Or just or just don't see it.
Yeah, or better. Just don't see it.
Just don't. Go fucking watch.
Go see something better. Go see Django Unchained. That movie kicked ass.
Shit, go rent From Dusk Till Dawn. You'll have a fun time with that one. That's what this movie should have been. But because I get the feeling it wanted to be tongue-in-cheek. It wanted to be that kind of like goofy, cheesy, super gory kind of action piece, but it just fails because it doesn't really do that. I mean, it wants to be. I get the sense it wants like the witches to look cool, but it's just like.
But they didn't.
Yeah, I get the sense that they want the gore to be awesome. It's just like.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, it's fucking CGI. Fuck that shit. If you're a horror fan, fuck CGI gore. Fuck it. I mean, I can understand certain parts, but if they can afford a fucking troll suit, a good one, by the way, they could at least afford a couple of good gore effects. I mean, no fucking point to that one. I'm really trying to think because, like, I mean, I'm trying to compare this to how it compares to like some of the other fairy tale inspired movies, and it's just kind of it's a little better maybe than Red Riding Hood, but not as entertaining because at least Snow White had some funny shit to make fun of, but. it's just a trend that I'm kind of wishing just dies. But of course, we got to Jack the fucking Giant Slayer coming up. So
I'm not looking forward to that. No. And it's not even bad enough to be good. It's not even hokey, so we can go, oh, at least we had a good time making fun of it. We didn't. There was nothing to make fun of that the movie didn't make fun of itself. Yeah. And that's all I gotta say about it. It's just a bland. It is the movie equivalent of eating unflavored oatmeal.
Yeah.
It's eating glue. It's eating glue, the movie. That's what Hansel and Gretel is. In fact, buy yourself some glue. You will have more enjoyment.
At least you can put glitter on that shit.
At least you have some glitter. Like, ooh.
At least it'll look fancy.
It'll look nice. And it'll probably be a more, attractive end product.
But, I mean, that's all we can say. I mean, if you really, really gotta see this fucking movie, see at least the cheapest way you possibly can.
Yeah. It's just cheap matinee.
Or just wait for the fucking DVD to come out. Don't even bother with the Blu-ray, just the DVD. This shit doesn't deserve a Blu-ray.
Yes. So the cheapest way possible, or just avoid seeing it at all.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
You're not missing much. And that's all we have to say on the situation. So we're gonna switch it up this time and leave on different levels. I am Shane from the Den.
And I'm Dan, and stop bringing your fucking baby to a movie. Good night, folks.